So let me take you back to April 1st, 1919. On April 1st, the Stanley Cup final was supposed to be decided in Seattle, Washington, between the Seattle Metropolitans and the Montreal Canadiens. And as you can see, the entire tournament was called off because almost all of the Montreal Canadiens ended up in the hospital with Spanish flu in 1919. And if you fast forward almost 100 years later to this moment, almost 100 years to the day, on January 9th, 2020, this is the moment that Dr. Ghebreyesus confirms that what they had thought was a novel coronavirus was indeed that, and the beginning of about a month to 60-day process where it then became a pandemic. And what I want to look at when you look at these cycles is ask the question, in that 100 years, is this unique? Are these cycles unique? And what the subject of most of the research that I've worked on has really shown us is that while there are always elements of uniqueness, humans and organizations tend to spend way too much time focused on what they think is unique about it, and not enough time in the commonalities between the cycles, which end up being the things that bridge economic growth and end up being the things that the companies and leaders that focus their attention on take out of these cycles to prepare for what they're about to endeavor for their companies, both the good and the bad. And so it's these commonalities that I want to focus on, not to take away from what's unique about COVID-19 versus the Spanish flu or versus the flu outbreak in 1947, but it's those commonalities that we have to be careful about. And what those commonalities have done is they have put us in a historical cycle where we are consistently over the last 300 years resetting the human operating system. So as we move through these cycles, and I'll talk to you more about them historically, when you move through them, they often have this incredible impact on having a reset effect on the way we live, the way we buy, the way our relationships work, where we live. They are hugely impactful. And so the thing that I would argue that we want to spend the most time in an organization focusing on and thinking about is the commonalities in these cycles over the last 3 centuries that have forced us to reset the human operating system, which thereby changes almost everything we do and how we live, and thereby the companies that are successful in doing it, coming out of it the other end. Now, what I want to try to do this morning in the sort of half an hour we've got, because I want to make sure we have time for questions, is really walk through 3 things. First, I want to walk through the cycles and give you this framework so you can understand it historically and take from it what you will. You may agree or disagree with some of it, but it'll at least give you a bit of a framework. Secondly, I want to talk about what has changed behaviorally. What are the key behavioral shifts that are going to be these resets of our operating system going forward as we bounce back and come out of COVID-19? And lastly, how does this affect leadership? And what do you do about it now? How do you work within the organization? What are the things that are proven tactics that seem to be working? And what are the tells that the market is showing us they're looking for leaders as we come out of the next 6 months into what will be, we hope, a post-vaccinated world?